So traditionally, where has India's moral compass typically come from? Is it Hinduism?
Okay, I have a very different thought process on Hinduism, but the moral compass for India, and I don't want to limit it to an ideology, but I sense that the moral compass comes from your family values. So for me, irrespective if you're following Islam, irrespective if you're a Christian, how your family values are ingrained in you, that become the major driver of your moral compass. And it could be worshipping female goddesses, it could be understanding the role your mother, your sister play in the society, it could be seeing how women have been fighting for equality for the past 100 years and how they've progressed, respecting their sacrifices. It could be anything, but I don't see religion in India, I don't see it as a driver with respect to the gender bias that's there. I don't see religion plays a major role. I mean, to my experience, I think it's very limited. So the morality comes in from the education,
it's basically
from the family.
learned experiences over the generations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is difficult to pass on generation to generation, because for example, in Africa there were never really any books written. So you'd have maybe a father and a son would go out hunting, and then the father would get bitten by a red snake, and the son would see this, and then the father dies, and then the son's like, whoa, this is dangerous, and then he teaches his son, never ever go close to that red snake, ever, because obviously it's a first generation experience, he's seen it firsthand. And then that son never ever sees a red snake again, and then he has a son, and he never teaches his son this, and then he gets bitten by the red snake and dies. So if you're passing on knowledge one generation without it being written,
with regards to written material that's there's a lot of written content that's available. But the thing is, it's not highlighted, it's not emphasized enough in India, and that's why this generation Passover, or this mentality Passover, is primarily focused on the family values, because this is again a problem with India. We're teaching our students IT, we're teaching our students computers, we're teaching our students English, but the focus on the moral values has been low. And
it's a tough one though, because take for example me being a Christian, I wouldn't want a school to teach my kids morality, because it might not align with my personal morality. And that's why traditionally I think religions have been such an incredible whether you can debate whether religions are true or not, but you cannot debate the true value that they've generally had. Obviously there's been people who've abused this, there have been instances where it's been used for evil, but in general, if you take the average household, let me give you an example for me. I had school, which was teaching me knowledge and everything. Then I had my house unit, and then above that I had what I believed to be my understanding of the world and the universe, which was, you had God who created us, and he had a specific way that he wanted us to behave in order to enter to the kingdom of heaven. And if you look at the way that the religion outlined what was right living, it was in true accordance with civilization building mentality. So for example, don't sleep with your neighbor's wife, don't steal, don't murder anybody. These are morals that they were even higher than my own parents in my eyes. This was God's will. This isn't mom or dad's will. This isn't my school's will. This is another order above all else, and I have to confer to this. And I think that broad understanding and that broad belief system had real value in terms of people mingling together in functional societies. And just to ask you, sorry to keep cutting you off, There must be something similar to that in Indian culture, because Indians share a lot of similarities regardless of where in India they come from.
And that's absolutely pointing to the problem, because this used to happen where we didn't really need the schools to teach morality, because the parents had enough time to teach their children morality. And there was these family gatherings where they teach you what are the right things to do, what are not right things to do. But now with the services sector booming in India, the parents are busy, the kids are getting their morality from TV. It's that is one of the root cause of problems with morality. And it's a vicious cycle, because it keeps on repeating, because if the kids are not mentored or tutored properly today, it's going to come back again. It's not like it will just stick to that generation, because half the generation would then not teach their kid what is right, what is wrong, what is misbehavior, which is what is accepted behavior. And it's becoming into a compounding problem.
Yeah, it's a complicated problem. I think that India still has a way to go before it gets to because in my belief, the West has gotten to a point where it reached equality.
Yeah.
Everyone was on the same footing regardless of race or gender or anything. And that's great, because you want the best person available to do the job.
Too much independence is also not good.
In what sense?
In what sense? In the sense that, if you look at US for an example, they, for me, I see US reaching the pinnacle of, setting a benchmark for societies to be.
Maybe 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now what's happened is they had so much free time that they're just creating issues which are completely non-issues.
I don't want to get too far off of India, but just on this point, I don't think that it's that they're necessarily creating non-issues. I think that the issues from 20 years ago are starting to come to the forefront because of negligence on parents teaching the kids morals and things, because now the kids from our generation in the US are now getting jobs, and they're now in the institutions, and they're now starting to push what they believe to be right and correct. And I think what they believe to be right and correct in the most of the time is not actually right and correct. There was a thought that I had, but it slipped.
There's something which I remember, and I don't know if it's very relevant here or not, but one of the things that my parents told me was, it's very important to remember your history. You don't erase the bad incidents or the bad situations you were in. You don't erase them off your memory.
Those are the ones you remember the most, though.
Those are the ones you need to remember, so that you do not repeat those mistakes again. What's happened with the world is they're trying to forget whatever bad has happened, and they're trying to move on. But the issue is that if you don't take your learnings from that, you're going to fall back in that trap, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, I think that there's been a particular focus on trying to correct the wrongs of the past, which is admirable to an extent. But when you're talking about severely impacting the present for trying to repair something that it's like if you had to go to British guys and expect them to repair the sins of their forefathers today in India. How are they going to do that? It's best to say that happened, it wasn't great, but we're here today and we need to move forward.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate, but most of the people, the mindset is to focus and fixate on problems rather than try and look for solutions. I think it's a very limited portion of population across the world, not just to India, not just to US, everywhere. where the solutions-oriented people are in minority today. And if you look 3 generations back, the kind of problems these guys faced, we don't even think of that.
Yeah.
And we have a nice and easy life, and these petty little problems. You look at this. When was stress a problem?
What? No, I mean, you're talking about stress today. You're talking about what is your stress? Like if you, and I did a video on this channel about that. I don't know if you watched it. It's called the Gift of Society. It's where I basically tried to make the point that, look, we are the most privileged generation that has ever walked the face of the planet, man. Our stress is, I got the 65-inch instead of the 75-inch TV. Obviously I'm not talking about like people who are really still struggling. I mean, if you take the general person alive today, they're living better than kings lived freaking 500 years ago, man, no question. And the issues that are such magnificent issues to the general person today is in complete ignorance of history. That's why I agree with you, man. We have to know history. We have to.
Yeah. And
if nothing else but to gain appreciation for how things are actually pretty damn good right now.
Absolutely.
And trying to get us back onto India, because I don't want to stray too much, but in particular, what I see in the US, and you can tell me if there's anything you see like this in India, because I know you said before after you became an independent state again, I'd like to get your opinion on how you feel that all impacted India. But what I see in most Western countries now is people are essentially just attacking things that they believe to be evil, like institutionalized racism as an example. They're attacking institutions, and they don't understand how or why the institutions they're attacking have come to be. It's almost as if you're attacking what your ancestors have built over centuries of hard-learned lessons, and you don't know why. You don't agree with something happening, and therefore you tear the institution apart, and you are attacking. It's like pulling on threads that you don't know what they unravel, and it could be the fabric of your society. I know that could be seen as like an extreme statement, but I believe it to be true. I believe that you're pulling on threads that you don't know what they unravel because of one surface level issue, and you don't understand how deep that goes. With regards to India, you mentioned specifically that while we were talking now, after you became independent, there hasn't been much morality. Do you think that prior to occupation there was?
The thing that the worst thing that British could have given us is the education system.
Yeah.
The education.
You mean their education system?
Their education system, which is now, present in India, and it's the way modern education is defined. Prior to that, the education system in India was very different. There were concepts. I don't know if you know this, but in terms of evolution, India, the not just India, but the civilization in the Indian subcontinent was way ahead compared to the West. And I'm talking about maybe 1500 to 2000 years back.
Yeah.
We had astronomy, we had mathematics, we had philosophy, way ahead of the Western society at that point of time. And it's a very complicated issue, but I will come to it. I will try and get you more content on this.
I hope that you enjoyed that snippet out of Couch Conversations. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to watch the full video, I will link it down in the description for you. Thanks for watching. Back in the studio.